Welcome to part 2 of the Drive Chat episode on talking about violence against women and children. And today we have as guest with us, Ivana Reis. I'm not going to tell you about her because she's got so many credentials, so many qualifications that I'd probably be lost. So Ivana, just help us understand a little bit about who you are and what you do, and that will help our audience when they view this, see what you can do to benefit them.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on this program, Eugene. With regard to my qualifications, my main qualification is that I'm an ordinary person. That's my main qualification. I happen to have trained extensively in Krav Maga, and I'm a black belt in Krav Maga. I also coach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Filipino martial arts, boxing, Muay Thai, and I also train a cage fighting squad. So that's basically what I do. I never started off like that. So for any ladies listening to this and thinking, well, that's a little bit extreme, please remember I'm just an ordinary lady that happened to get into this because I was attacked in my home. For 5 times I had intruders on the property. And the 5th time came a little bit close for comfort. I had no idea what to do. I was standing behind the bedroom door, clutching a 4-kilogram pink dumbbell, wondering how I was going to swat the intruder who came through the door. And being the person who saves the ant out of the bath, this was really not congruent with my personality. And in that moment, I made a deal with myself. If I survived that 5th incident, I would go the very next day and go and learn how to defend myself. And that's where my journey began. Very simple. It just happens that I really enjoyed the training, and I continued down the path. So that's basically my background.
I'm glad to say that you're an ordinary person, and the fact that you've accomplished these incredible things. The purpose of talking today is, we're in this period where we're promoting consideration and care for women and children. So some of the things that I'd like to ask you to discuss and share with our audience is, give us the benefit of your experience. And because we're in the driving business, we often have people going to shopping centers, etc. So when you are approaching your car, for example, criminals are very active now. What is the recommendations that you would give to our lady listeners and viewers?
Yeah. Ladies, the first thing that you need to do is, when approaching a car, the first thing you need to do is focus on your posture. Walk upright. Don't be distracted on your phone. If you are carrying bags or you're holding the hands of your children, do not be distracted by them or by anything else. Your eye line needs to be up, and you need to be focusing on what's going on around you. Secondly, if you are right-handed, try and carry your handbag or any shopping bags in your left hand, because it gives you your right hand, which is your dominant hand, freedom to help to either access a weapon. That might sound extreme, maybe it's just pepper spray, but it gives you access to that pepper spray, and it also allows you to shield any incoming strikes. Thirdly, start looking around at who is in the parking lot. Have a look at any vehicles that are parked where there are occupants inside the vehicle. That's an issue. Secondly, if you parked your car and then come back and find that there's a different car parked next to your vehicle, and that car is a delivery van with a sliding door, be cognizant of that, because it's very easy to be pulled into the side of a delivery van or the back of a delivery van.
Okay, let's just pause you there for a moment, Ivana. Let's just go back a step. This is typically what we would advise anyone, in fact. When you park your car, make the choice as to where you park to be the safest when you exit. It's pointless parking it if you're going to come out at night, and it's way down the other end of the parking area. So all of this needs to be seen as part of a unified action. But just talk to us for a moment, when you're approaching the car, or you're approaching anything, in fact, it could be an Uber or a hailed ride or something. What are the things that you should take notice of as a woman in particular?
Yeah, well, first of all, anybody that is standing around, anything that doesn't fit the picture. And ladies, I just want to encourage you here. You have a sixth sense that very often you ignore. And you'll see something that doesn't fit the picture and you'll go, oh, I'm probably just imagining it. You need to take notice of those things, because those are often our cues to a situation potentially going awry. Be aware of, obviously, if you've hired an Uber, obviously know the registration number of the vehicle and the type of vehicle that is collecting you, and obviously, and ask the driver for their name. Don't say, "Are you so-and-so?" They'll say yes. Ask them to verify their name so that it matches what you're expecting. But when you're approaching a vehicle, the other thing is, please have your keys ready. Don't be, scrabbling around in your handbag trying to find your keys. Have them ready. The other thing is, ladies, people often say use your keys as a weapon if someone strikes you. I personally don't like that idea. Holding a key between your fingers and trying to stab someone actually doesn't work, number one. And number two, the key slips and damages you. If you've got several keys on your key ring, rather slap them across the face with a hold one key and use the rest of the keys to slap them across, across the face. Anything that can affect their eyesight is a really good place to start. So even if you have something like loose change in your hand and you throw it into their face, that moment gives you a moment to scream, to access your vehicle, to try and run. Always try and go for their eyes first.
And Ivana, I know you've shared with us on our colloquium some really devastating things, and I must admit I'd hate to bump into you if I had bad intentions, right, on a dark night. We're not all fortunate enough that we can drive in our own vehicle or something. Any advice about women taking public transport? What are the things that they can be aware of that would help them?
Well, in terms of public transport, there are many categories of public transport. So let's just say that you're entering either a Bolt or an Uber. Be aware of, as I said, that the registration number and the drive and everything matches. Be aware of any other occupants that could jump into the Uber while you're getting in. Because the Uber might seem empty, you get in, but the back doors are open and someone else jumps in next to you. Be aware of that. If you're in a taxi and there are people in a taxi that you're not comfortable with, my advice to you ladies is this: carry a weapon. Now, whether that weapon is a knife or whether that weapon is pepper spray, have it with you and have it handy. It's no good having pepper spray at the bottom of your handbag. So please have it that you could literally just spray someone in the eyes immediately if you needed to, and be able to get out of the that situation.
Ivana, give me your expert views on this. Women, it's great they have pepper spray, mace sprays, call it what you like. They bought it about 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What? Please give some recommendations.
Yeah, ladies, pepper spray has a shelf life the same as tomatoes. So you actually need to replace your pepper spray every year. It's got a shelf life, and you've got to replace it. It's useless to you after a certain period of time.
I know I'm going to put you on the spot now. When I talk about public transport, so if you can't give us a qualified answer, fine. Catching the train or something like that. Is there anything that you can share? Again,
ladies, be aware of who's in the carriage. If there are people in the carriage, it's the same as getting into an elevator. Think of how you would approach getting into an elevator. If there are people in the elevator that you're not happy with, you'll miss that elevator and take the next one. It's the same thing with any public transport. If you're not comfortable with who is in that vehicle or who is in the train, don't get on board. Secondly, if you're forced to, if you're running late and you feel, I actually don't have a choice, I have to catch this, make sure again that you have your pepper spray with you. Secondly, stand as close as possible to an exit. And thirdly, try and establish as much distance between you and the people that you're not comfortable with. Because remember, if they have bad intentions, they have to approach you. And the other thing is make eye contact with them. Because when you make eye contact with them, you're giving off a vibe that says, I've seen you, don't mess with me. Whereas if you try and avoid eye contact with them, you make yourself even more of a victim. So make direct eye contact with them, keep eye contact with them, not in an aggressive way to promote an incident, but just in a way to say to them, I've seen you. And then again, have your weapon ready, because, and I say this whether you're a man or a woman, if you are going up against multiple attackers, if there are 2 or 3 people in any kind of scenario, you need a leveler that will level the playing field, and a weapon is your leveler. So it's no good having a weapon and not being able to access it. Don't say to yourself, I've got pepper spray. You don't have pepper spray unless it's in your hand, then you have pepper spray.
Sorry, Ivana, does this not talk to a point that you made at the outset about your posture as well? If you look like a victim in that environment, in the train or something, then you make yourself more probable. We used to share in our hijack management training programs a comment that said, if you act like a victim, you can become a victim. Now, it's not to say that everybody who's victimized deserves it, not by any means. Right. But I think it speaks to the fact that you must show that you're in control of the situation, albeit only to a limited extent. Can we just move on, please, to situational awareness? Now, I think this applies to everyone, but if we can just talk to our lady viewers.
Yeah. Ladies, situational awareness is extremely important. Have you ever wondered what you would do if someone grabbed you and then you just froze? Why do people freeze in a situation where there's violence involved? The reason people freeze is that they never saw it coming. There is a staged process in situational awareness. And the moment you leave your front door, you need to be relaxed, but looking around you. So you don't have to drive yourself crazy looking at everything that's going on around you. You have an instinct. There's a baseline behavior that's expected in any sort of environment. The minute something no longer matches that baseline behavior, that's when you need to make note of it. If you do notice that something doesn't match at baseline, you now need to start looking at either escape routes or access to your weapon. And then finally, if someone does attack you, that is when you need to actually go into combat mode. Now, whether they're, and there, ladies, I would suggest that you do get yourself some training, because training goes a very long way. If you didn't see it coming, and this is the point in terms of situational awareness, let's say I was on my phone and suddenly I arrived immediately at the point where someone grabs me from behind. That is when people freeze, because they had no prior warning. Prior warning is your best defense. And that comes, excuse me, that comes from being situationally aware. So it means do not be on your cell phone when you're in the car. Do not be on your cell phone when you are walking in a mall. Do not be on your cell phone unless you are in an environment where you are entirely safe to do so.
Ivana, can I just, and it's something you mentioned earlier, and I think it's just worth repeating. You spoke about that sense. Just remind viewers again why that is so important, because I think that maybe ladies, females, if they're driving somewhere with their husband, for example, and they say they're not comfortable, what does the man do? He generally says, "Oh no, that's stupid. You know, it's ridiculous." That eventually then becomes suppressed. So what is there that they should do to almost cultivate that sense of awareness that would make them less vulnerable?
Well, I think the first thing, ladies, is to value that sense of awareness. You have something special and you need to value it, not downplay it. Your sense of awareness is what ultimately can save you in any situation. I can tell you from my own experience, in fact, just a couple of weeks back, I was followed home late at night. And I travel, I vary my routes, but I had a sixth sense that something was off that night. Now, I travel every night. So why would I that particular night go, something's off here? And I got hemmed in by 2 vehicles. I had to rely on advanced driving skills in order to evade the situation. I got followed, a chase went on right through the suburbs on my tail. And if I had not trusted that little voice that said, something's off today, I don't know what would have been the result. Two vehicles, 6 armed guys, potentially there were 6 guys across the 2 vehicles. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make, ladies, is trust it. don't allow people to downplay that voice. As I said, you need to value it. It's a gift.
Ivana, thanks. And I gather they weren't looking for a date with you, really. It couldn't have been that day. But just if I can share the last thought with you, and I was on ENCA earlier today, and Gareth asked the question, should drivers be paranoid? And no, this is not about being paranoid. It's really about cultivating a sense of awareness that if you work with every single day, it will become part of your routine, and therefore you need not necessarily be a victim. So Ivana, thank you for sharing with us. Time's gone by. We hope to see you again and meet with you again. But if anybody would like to have more information on those self-defense courses that you present, please, they happily can contact us and we'll pass them on. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Drive safe and have a good festive season. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Eugene, and you too. Thank you.